Well, it's been really interesting the last few weeks watching how the Russia situation in Ukraine has evolved and the impacts in the cybersecurity space. The proclamation by President Biden around the idea that private businesses should become more resilient in terms of their cybersecurity has really created this sort of call to action, and I guess what I would call the hype cycle around what boards should be doing in managing their cybersecurity risk and governing that risk and working interactively with management. I think that it's most important that boards understand that they have an obligation now in the evolving legal structure of their responsibility to monitor risk. Certainly, cybersecurity risk fits into there. But the threats that face organizations, whether they're from a Russian hacker or just their day-to-day operation, while they haven't changed, it's important to understand that if you have a good management structure for risk as an organization, it benefits your business, both from a profitability perspective and growth, as well as just protecting your reputation. Combine that with the fact that boards have greater amounts of personal liability now for ensuring that they have the right program in place, it really creates a situation where it's now time to get the right program in place. First things I would say is always understanding the firm's real risk position, right? Whether it's what are those things that matter the most to you, whether it's intellectual property, your family business's good name, or your just ability to operate. I think that those are all important to be able to really define in very specific terms. Second is you've got to be able to find an advisor who will be personally accountable for giving you the information that you need. And then they're not your IT generalist, they're not your auditor, they're not your friend who used to work at the government somewhere. It's somebody who's been responsible for running a cybersecurity program on a global basis, who's fought some of these fights and knows how to make a business case to be able to define what the right level of risk and investment trade-off is to give you that advice. One of the first steps is defining your risk tolerance. How much risk are you prepared to accept across those things that you value the most? If you're going to be able to manage that risk, you're going to have to understand the gap between your tolerance level and where you are in terms of your controls against those risks that face your business. As with all these situations, you're going to have to monitor this on an ongoing basis and be able to clearly articulate the decisions that you've made, why you made them, and why that's the right level of protection for your business. The board needs to have the right expertise. There's a lot of noise out there in the world, and there's lots of people who are happy to sell you something. But beyond President Biden's proclamation, the board, can get this capability and expertise now. And it had, organizations like ours at Apollo are deeply steeped in fighting these fights, and advising boards and helping them come up with the right strategy and the right investment path. And that's really what we do. We provide the full spectrum of capabilities and the tools and advice that's right for your organization.